Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco, and coming up, we're going to take a look at a Glow Rhino Lightbringer knife. Never heard of them before, but really, the big crux of the biscuit tonight is Bestech, their new line, the Bestech Man line. That is their budget-aimed line. Interesting name, Bestech Man, and I have their very excellent knife, the Dundee, in hand. We're going to take a look at that and talk about Bestech putting out a budget line. Very exciting stuff. First up, I want to acknowledge a couple of deaths in the knife world this past week. Tragically, Aaron Hogue crashed his jet while racing it outside Reno, Nevada. I mean, very, very, very sad. I didn't know he was a pilot, and I think that was a pretty cool hobby, but very, very sad that he passed away in this way, and that he passed away at all. But he was doing something he loved. That's cold comfort, quite obviously. But he will be missed by the knife world and by the gun world. That is Aaron Hogue, and also Jason Brown, a knife maker I'm not too familiar with, but he has died also this past week and caused quite a ripple. So I just want to extend my condolences to the families and friends of both of those people, Aaron Hogue and Jason Brown, and just say the knife world will miss you, as will your own personal worlds. All right, so tonight we're going to, as I mentioned, take a look at Bestech Man. Have you guys heard of this? We mentioned it last week, so obviously you have. Evening, all you blade runners, says This Old Sword. Dave, This Old Sword Blade Reviews. Actually, we're going to be giving away a knife. This is a random knife giveaway tonight, and that knife was actually donated to the channel by Dave. It is an amazing Sativian. I may as well show it to you right now. Dave, we have 9198 David with us. David, good to have you here, sir. Right here is the Sativian. It's got numbers and I can never remember. ST109. We're going to be giving this one away tonight. Sorry for the bunk deployment, but this is an outstanding EDC knife. I mean, it pretty much does the axis lock on ball bearings better than anyone. I hate to say it. Blame Dexter. How you doing? Hello, he says. I mean, really? You know, I have a couple of axis lock on bearing knives, and this one, I don't know. I think it might be the best of all of them. I almost hesitate to give this away, but I can't keep every knife Dave gives me. He's a very generous individual. Izzy, how you doing? Finally made it for Thursday Night Knives. Izzy Joseph, pleasy to have you. Good to have you here. Blade Ogre, good to have you here, Blade Ogre. We're talking Sativian. Do you guys know Sativian? Sharp and Stabby. And go Thursday Night Knives. Good evening, my friends. Good evening, Sharp and Stabby. You too could win this Sativian ST109 with the super smooth action. And by the way, that is rock solid. That is not, there is no movement. That is incredibly rock solid. Hey, Will, how's it going? Will says, Bob, Jim, Dave, evening. Will just bought a fantastic knife from me, and actually he had a good knife week. So here's to you, sir. Caleb, howdy. Good to have you here, Caleb. Will you be the one to win this ST109? So really, all you got to do is put #knife in the comments section, and you'll be in for the drawing, the random drawing of this very cool knife. I cannot believe how inexpensive that knife is. And there are a couple of things that kind of belie the cost of it and the lack of expense, if you will. If you look at this side of the black micarta, pretty decent. Also, this side also pretty decent, but very much darker. That pocket clip is a little Home Depot, but you got nice sculpting on that on the whatchamacallit, and you have really outstanding action here with that axis lock. Very, very cool. So I'm going to put this down here again. That is #knife. #knife. I'm going to chat something right here. Yeah, I can hear. Let's see. I have this jacked up. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, You may have actually it's more than a couple of weeks ago. I dumped an entire pint of water on my laptop keyboard, so it makes typing difficult. But anyway, I was just trying to type something. I think I've gone through this. D2, also a nice heft to it. There is no weight relief on those liners. So look at this. Look at this. Just drop shot. Amazing. Very good action. This Sativian could be yours tonight, thanks to me and Dave, this Old Sword Blade reviews, and of course Jim doing the random drawing. Ketmuk Nessard, good to have you here, sir. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Ketmuk, I have the Shining Mountain Bowie out tonight. That will forever remind me of you, sir. That knife. You took that knife out and showed it a weekend I could never show it out there in the wilderness. Hero Sticks, good to have you here, Hero. We're going to show off one of the knives you loaned me to check out, this Glow Rhino. What a weird, interesting, unique EDC company, this company Glow Rhino. They basically put tritium on all things EDC, and they have a couple of knives made. And here's one from Ferrum Forge, the guys from Ferrum Forge that I'll show you in a little while. Thanks to Hero Sticks. Aberdeen Blades, good to have you here, Aberdeen. Always a pleasure. I'm thinking Nick EDCer. Good to have you. Hey, Knife Buds. Hey, Bob and Jim. Well, Nick EDCer, it's good to have you. Mike Flamian, greetings, he says. Mike, greetings to you. Never Enough Knives 007. Yo, Junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Well, happy Thursday Night Knives to you, sir. Byron Kennedy. Howdy at the Bob Junkie. Why did I read that? Howdy, Knife Junkie Bob, Jim, and fellow Blade Junkies. Thursday Night Knives, he says. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Steel Ovan, good to have you here, Steel. Hello, fellow humans. I like, sometimes you got to remain general. You want to make sure that you're hitting most entities. Izzy says, a recent sub. Oh, thank you. Recent sub. Been watching all the pods and Thursday Night Knives the last couple of weeks. Thankful for the content and camaraderie. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. That's the kind of comment that puts wind in my sails for sure. Someone recently commented on that goofy Bowie video I did about using the swedge of your Bowie. They commented saying, that's just the kind of life lesson I needed. And I thought, you know what? That's cool that someone took time to say that. Obviously, they were being somewhat facetious, but still, it warmed the cockles of my heart. Come on, focus. All right, there we go. I love that thing. That's the Kudamon Bowie that I've been bragging on. Learned about this one from not Hollywood Tactical, but Legion Tactical. I like his channel a lot. He sounds like he's from, I think he might be from New Jersey or New York. And he's got taste adjacent to mine, or parallel to mine, I guess I should say. Lots of fixed blades. He veers into the camp. I always veer into this more combative style. But man, I'm so glad I've been watching his channel, because he's exposed me to this and several other cool knives. So I love that. Mr. VC, how you doing? Good morning, my friend. My favorite breakfast show. Awesome. Hey, so Mr. VC, I did the video of your Norseman today, and I want to get it on the wing tomorrow to you. So thank you again for letting me borrow that thing. Wow. I mean, really, the Norseman. Yes, people, if you haven't picked it up, just have faith in the fact that your peers, like the people who tell you that the Koenig Arius is awesome, and that the Norseman is awesome, and all these things that maybe you haven't touched, like myself. Well, it turns out the hype is real with all these. This community knows its stuff. It's not like a movie where it's like, oh yeah, you gotta see it. It's the best. Well, no, it's just what everyone's seeing. This is not the case. This is, man, that Norseman. Wow, just fine engineering, and beautiful also. Nicely done on the color combinations and all that, Mr. VC. Thanks again, sir. All right, I think I'm ready for a pocket check. Today was a good day because I was reflecting on an interview we did last night that will show up on Sunday, and so it prompted me to carry this. And no, it was not Charles Marlowe, but it prompted me to carry this. One of my favorite knives. This is a Boker VG10 titanium and G10 version of my actual Grail folding knife, the Charles Marlowe, the Marlowe Squale, or anything else by Charles Marlowe, but this is my favorite design by him. His work, he's a rare bird, or his work is very rare, I should say. I follow him on Instagram, and actually I have not seen much activity from him in a while. I think he's a young man. He was going to come on my show, and then something came up, and then we've never been able to reschedule. So his knives are kind of unobtainium. Definitely, they are for me. I follow a couple of collectors on Instagram who have his work, and every time they land something, it's a big deal. So a company like Boker is not a company like Boker. Boker, the company, uh, allows this to be in my pocket. And it is the closest approximation to the real deal, and it is a really, really well made production knife, stout and sturdy, 4 inches long, beautiful, awesomely ground. They took a lot of they put a lot of attention into this knife, and well, so I carried it today. Yesterday, last night, I spoke with someone from Boker, a great guy that I met at Blade Show, and so I had to carry that today. I had to. It was a moral imperative. Can I see Dave's comment, Jim, before I move on to knife number 2? Liked your Bowie vid. Got to get my a traditional Filipino weapons Bowie in your hand sometime for a look-see. Yes, that's funny you should mention that, because I've been lurking around the internet looking at Bowies, just doing searches like Bowie, and then, oh my God, you wouldn't imagine how much crap comes up if you just do that. But I was looking at the traditional Filipino weapons. That's sold out. Everything I want from them almost is sold out. I really want that Bowie. I want a Garab, and I want a most especially I want the Talibang from them, and that's sold out. So, well, I just got to wait around. Izzy says that Bowie video was awesome. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my daughters helped out. It's always good to have a camera person there. One of these years, probably not this year, probably maybe next, I'm going to bring her, my older daughter, to Blade Show to be my director of photography, and so I can walk around hands free, like a what's the word like an impresario. Is that a word? Um, and just kind of glide around and have her take pictures and video, and I won't have to hold it. That will be awesome. Will be. I'm glad you were finally able to get a Norseman in hand, Bob. Yes, yes, yes. Me too. I mean, not only so that I mean, just as a matter of research, I should know what it's like, but to have it and to appreciate it, to fall in love with it so much was an extra nice treat. Hero says, yeah, that Norseman was sweet. Yes, yes, it was. I really like. There's like, it's gold anodized, and then the thumb stud and the standoffs are sort of like rose gold anodized. It's really beautiful. It's a Gungan. Good to have you here. Does it Spidey flick? The Norseman does not Spidey flick. Oh, does this Spidey flick? Yes, it does. Here, we were doing pocket check, and I interrupted myself. Yeah, there you go. You can Spidey flick that. More with a little bit of wrist. I mean, you can. It's got a pretty strong detent, actually. So once you get purchase, it will fly out. This is kind of a sharp hole, but man, this thing is cool, and it can also be had and was originally offered in green micarta with that bolster. It looked so nice, but it was tipped down only, which is such a buzzkill. And then I think they ended up switching it up. So I got the black G10 because that had it, the right way. By the way, I love the small spoon clip. Very nice. Eugene Krabs, good to have you here, Eugene. Wait, it's actually called Bestech Man. I thought that was a meme. No, it's real. Bestech Man. It is an interesting name. You know what I was thinking? everyone has their strengths, and man, I will tell you, the Chinese manufacturers, their manufacturing strength is amazing with knives. The naming, they should focus group some of these names, and run it by some of us nerds and see what we think. Bestech Man, eh, you know, could be something else too. But then again, Civivi, I was like, that was a weird one. It sounded Italian to me or something, or Latin. And like, is that going to take off? And yeah, Civivi took off. I'm sorry, Jim, can you go back? Hey, Weston Probst, good to have you here. Howdy to you. The Squale is such a good looking blade. Almost Hassam. Yeah. That's interesting. Almost Hassam like. Yeah, yeah. I used to like Jerry Hassam, and his son makes knives like amazingly, and definitely in the same style. Like he sort of works in the atelier of his father, it seems. The handles, I always thought the handles were cool, and then recently, well, I held them, and they are cool. They feel good, but recently I haven't been liking how they look. But Fox Knives has a new Hassam combat knife that looks really awesome. Uh, Definitely, I want to check that out. So if you like Hassam, check out the new Fox. Uh, Looks cool. Will B says, I Spidey flicked my Norseman, got double thumb studs from Grimsmo when I bought it. Yeah, that is something I would consider getting if I were to get a Norseman. My Norseman is a 7-inch fixed blade from Tops, designed by Viking Tactics. Very nice. That's a cool knife. That's like a line of 3, I believe. All right, next up today, I had the as per usual, I had the Jack Wolf knives. This has been my steady carry lately. The Benny's clip. Love this knife. It is the perfect size, even though the smaller ones uh, carry better. If you're carrying it in the slip, it doesn't matter. So I always actually have begun to, even though I collect larger slip joints, had begun to veer towards smaller ones for carry, because just preferring to drop them in the bottom, like we're talking like peanuts or the case. Tony Bowes, Swayback Jack, some smaller knives that you can, or the GEC 14, or those two little hawkbills or Warren Cliffs, dropping them in the bottom of the pocket. But if you're using them in a slip, it doesn't matter how big they get. And this knife is the big one of all of them, of the Jack Wolf knives, and is my I was about to say my favorite. I got to say, I've used this the most. This one to me is like I've been carrying it so much and using it so much that it just feels like I've bonded with it. I've bonded with them all, but only because well, I've used them all, but this one I feel like I've bonded through use, not just like, oh, it's mine and I love it and it's beautiful. This one has already, like, built sandwiches and broken down boxes and done, like, lots of building and destroying so far with this knife. So very, very psyched about this. I'm not sure if they're still available, but you need to go look. And it comes in 2 sumptuous carbon fibers, and then 2 rugged and ready, but quite handsome micartas as well. Mine, mine. I'm trying desperately. I'm like rubbing it like a worry stone, trying to even out the, like, I don't know why, but it's like darker right here. Probably from oil on the originally oil put on the pivot. That's usually what happens with micarta. It seeps out, but I'm trying to like encourage it to come down further. I even oiled it, but that doesn't work unless you're willing to hold on to a knife that has oil on the handle. You got to rub the oil off. It ends up, oh, leave it on, you say. Yeah, that still doesn't work. But doesn't matter. It's time and tide. It'll be years that will, the years of holding it and passing it around. Well, I don't do that. That will get that thing. Now you can see a little bit right here, a little bit of that patina right on the bottom. Oh, isn't that nice? All right, next up, I carried the big. Well, okay, we'll talk about this first. For emotional support, I've been into Bowie's a lot. 3 clip points today. This is clip point number 2. I had the Petrified Fish Victor on me in that beautiful denim micarta. I like those jeans a lot. This one has uh, been on and off the chopping block, but since I'm really in a Bowie phase, it's off the chopping block again. Why would this sweet knife be on the chopping block, you ask? Only because I've been trying to reduce volume, or thinking about trying to reduce volume, and I have by, you know, well, I sold Will B a knife, and I've been attempting to sell other knives, but this one I'm like, don't be so hasty about throwing this one away, or not throwing it away, but selling it, because A, it's a great knife. B, it's the only petrified fish I have. So a good example for talking points and such, or comparison. But really, it's the blade. And right now, since I'm such in a Bowie phase, and that blade is what drew me into this knife. I mean, I immediately bought this knife when I saw it. So I decided, just go with your first instinct. You love this, keep it. So I'm going to keep it. I do like this little pocket on the side. It's a bit Vero-esque. You can next to a V, that's somewhat Vero-esque. But I'm not even suggesting that the designer of this was being derivative. I think it's totally coincidental. But I love that little pocket milled out there, so you can Spidey flick this knife. It'd be cool to have it on both sides, I got to admit, but you can slow roll it from the left side, or use your thumb to flick it if you have coordinated thumbs. Awesome knife. You can see that this one has started to patina if you look around the pocket clip. That's cool. I see it better through the camera here. All right, so that was my emotional support knife today. And then last up, just in case I had to hack my way out, I had the Cold Steel Recon 1 XL in XHP, and the clip point. Yes, 3 clip points in a day. I know, but it just had to be done. It had to be done. I'm a big fan of this knife. Of course, I did not use this knife today. Did not even have need to take it out, but it was my big knife carry in place of fixed blade carry. Sometimes these big Cold Steels with the triad lock, I will just swap them out for a fixed blade. And actually, they tend to carry really well in the waistband, or even in some pockets. And like, this is pretty flat G10. This is a half-inch thick. It's like the width of a regular Recon 1. It's just bigger. Didn't have need to take this out, but like I said, this was my fixed blade, so to speak, for the day. And what I was saying is, you get a lot more reach than the fixed blades I can carry each day, or the fixed blades that I carry every day. So a cool knife to have on me, or about me, to replace a fixed blade. All right, what were you guys carrying today? Sorry for the yammering. I'm just staring at the screen at those 3 beautiful clip point blades, wondering why I didn't change it up just a little bit. But I guess it's okay. I'm going to cut myself a break, and get on with it. What were you carrying today? Weston, I carried a CRKT Lanny today. Ooh. How do you like that? I'm assuming, Weston, that you like it. That is a cool looking knife. Based on Liang Ma's Lanny clip flipper. Beautiful. I think it's cool that CRKT, I was mentioning Boker before, and how they have brought so many amazing custom knife designs, or knives by custom knife designers, to market for the hoi polloi like you and I to buy, or you and me to buy. And I really like that about that company. CRKT does the same thing with the innovation, or the trying new things, and the bringing in designers and unique boundary pushing designs. I like that a lot. It's just that Boker kind of builds their knives better, or uses better materials and that kind of thing. But CRKT is another one of those companies. Like, he was walking around with a Lanny's clip from Liang Ma that is affordable, that if he loses, he can get another one. Pretty nice. Blame Dexter. Good to have you, Blame. He says, I decided to ignore the no outside knives rule at work because everyone else does. Good. I now carry my OG 80 20.5 in Austin A and Grivery as my dedicated work knife. First of all, very cool. That sounds like a great dedicated work knife. I have the ugly shark's foot. I love that knife, but I also like the way you called it, the OG 80 20.5, because I think it's just barely a year old. But yeah, it is the OG at this point, because everyone's making them out of custom, what do you call it, making exclusives. Will B says, I love that titanium Preta 2. Hasn't left my pocket. I am so glad, Will. That is one of those knives that, as I was rubbing it down with alcohol and boxing it up, I was like, this thing is so smooth. Why am I selling this knife? I like this knife. What am I doing? But then I remembered, I haven't carried it much lately, and I have the Umnumzan. And when I got the Umnumzan, I was like, you don't need the Preda 2. Or I'm sorry, when the Preda 2 came out, that Tanto really caught my eye. And I was like, you don't need that. You have the Umnumzan, and it's very similar blade, And then I went for it anyway. So I'm glad it's in the family, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, sir. May it carry you through thick and thin. Weston Probst, I can't decide between a Jean micarta Victor or the blacked out one. Might have to get both. Well, watch Dave's watch this old sword his blade watch this old sword blade reviews video of it, because he has both. That's Dave that we always talk with here. Dave right there. Rocking a new PMP Alpha Smilodon and Microtech Stitch today. Also, the Benchmade Readout saw some pocket time. Which one is the Readout? And the Stitch, you're just rubbing it in my face. That Smilodon is pretty cool. Smilodon, that's the saber-toothed tiger, right? I'm only assuming that because the coin that you showed. Blade Ogre says, carrying the Arctic Storm PM2, very nice. The Benchmade tagged out, very nice. I might go to REI and see if they have that, because there's one right by work, and I just got a $30 off coupon, and that's good enough reason to go get a Benchmade tagged out. Benchmade EDC Adamas. In Burgundy, micarta. Ooh, that sounds nice. I've also been eyeing up the Adamas. I love Shane Sibbert's designs, or his custom knives. And again, that's a bit of unobtainium for me, kind of like a Charles Marlowe. So to get an Adamas would be a feather in the cap in my collection's cap. So I need to do that. But with Burgundy micarta, it's almost a moral imperative. Medford Praetorian Swift. I love that. That's an automatic Praetorian, kind of sleeked out a little bit. The ASK Jefferson, the Jack Wolf's Bennies, Manly Wasp, and Bark River XJ6 in Magna Cut. Ooh, very nice. With the Jack Wolf, the Benny's clip, let me know what handle material you have, but also write in Benny's clip with the handle material, so that when it comes back, I don't space, because I got news for you. That sometimes happens. Mike Flamian, the only knife that ever changes is my folders, the M14, the Model 14 and the Spyderco neck knife and Victorinox Cadet. The folders for today was the Shirogorov Custom Division, Quantum Custom Division. Very nice. Just for you, Mike, I pulled this out tonight, so I'm going to show it off a little bit. By the way, I love the Randall sheaths. They're so nice. So this is what Mike's talking about when he's talking about his usual M14. Well, he's not carrying, this is a 16 special fighter, but the Model 14 has a very similar handle and a much broader Bowie style blade. But what a cool knife to just carry around. That knife's name is the Attack, which I also love. The Model 14 Attack. It's not subtle at all. And like every Randall knife that I know of, including hunting and utility knives, it's got the sharpened swedge. I want more Randalls in my life, but I'm not being greedy. I already have two, and that's really all I need. And need is a funny word. But the more I look at Randalls, the more I just want. I know our good friend Edwin just got his first Randall. He got a number 16, I think, or I don't remember what he got, but at the gathering, and he made some videos of that. 9198 David carried my Spyderco Masad Ayub in crew wear. I saw that. You sent me that picture. Beautiful. Cold Steel Lawman in XHP. I love the XHP steel. And the Chavez Liberation Street Tonto in M390 today. Very nice. I love the Masad Ayub. That is such a cool Spyderco. I'm glad I guess they brought it back as a limited redo, or is that a customer, or is that a dealer exclusive? Max the Maker, good to see you, Max. Knives on me today. The Vox designed, Hogue made, Boker sold, Karakurt. Okay, that's an automatic. Used to cut sweet potato vines and multiple garlic stems. Very nice. Swiss Army knife, Huntsman not used. Garlic stems. Max the Maker grows garlic. Very nice. You out there in Gilbert? Hero Stick says Hinderer half track in black. Very nice. G10 and bronze. I love that half track. I like the full track even better. Finch Takuna, very nice. That was the Finch Takuna in the Halloween colors that appeared on this channel. And a wee little Rough Rider cotton sampler in yellow bone. Very nice. Love the cotton sampler. The Lanny's is beautiful. Not super crazy about the assisted open, but the design is great. Yeah, and it has jigged steel, right? The handle is metal steel and it's jigged, right? I love that. Bantang EVO Shiv and the Angler Knives Swimmer. Ooh, Bantang. So very interesting. Is that titanium? I know that those Bantang knives are just wickedly, incredibly, insanely sharp. And I know that some of them are made out of titanium, but I don't know if all of them are. I don't know if that's the unique selling proposition of Bantang, or if it's just incredibly sharp self-defense knives. Let me know. I'm interested. Wilby says, I had the Grimsmo Norseman. Very nice. The Concept Preta 2, Tonto, titanium. Benchmade 950 Rift. What a good week. By the way, the 950 Rift, I think, is my favorite between the Contigo and the 940. I think it's, though I do love the Contigo. I think the Rift has it beat. Kaiser Begleiter XL, the Civivi Chevalier, and the Olight Baton 3. Very nice. Wait, so that's 2 button locks, wow. Okay, so two frame locks, a axis lock, 2 button locks. Will, you've been taking a page out of Blade Ogre's book. I like it. I like it. Dan Satermo, good to see you here, Dan. Carried my Kaiser Cormorant XL. Man, it's an ugly knife, but charming. Face only an owner could love. And the Civivi button lock today. What Civivi button lock? That's like saying it's in Arizona. What movie is that from? Ventura County. That's like saying it's in Arizona. Kep McNeshart says, today I carried my Malone Knives Woodsmuck. I like that. Rib splitter sliver. Very nice. Did I know you have a rib splitter knife? I got to say, Kepmuk, that's not a knife I would expect you to have. Harn's Harvest. That is. And Jack Wolf Knives Benny's Clip in OD green. Very nice carry today. The rib splitter. Got to say, that's a dark horse for me. I did not expect that. Very cool. Mr. VC said, today I got the RH Knives Tosca 2. Which I don't know what this is. Is this Red Horse Knives Tosca 2? And the Kaiser Begleiter 2 Tonto. Oh, very nice. And the CK Maverick S. That is a nice knife too, man. Matt Christensen. What a good knife maker he is, man. I mean, good. That's not even the right word. He's very, very talented, like natural talent. Caleb says, today I carried an Olamic Swish, Serge Panchenko Midtech Bean, and a CT Metalworks custom Swiss Army knife. Okay. Oh, very nice. Very nice. CT Metalworks. Caleb Townsend Metalworks. Caleb Townsend. Caleb, you got to come on one of these days again. It's been a long time. You know, you just go to the knifejunkie.com/join and pop on and show us some of the good work you've been doing with these Swiss Army knives. I'm sure people would love to see it. And who knows, you might be able to drum up a little business. Jay McConnell, good to have you here, Jay. Today I carried a Hogue Deca Warney, rest in peace, Aaron. A Creeley Mako in Magna Cut, a knife that I never heard of before. Cedric and Ada, he's crazy about the Creeley Mako, and some nice carbon fiber. Oh, okay. In Magna Cut and some nice carbon fiber and a Benny's clip. Magna Cut, what do you think? Yes? Do you love it, Jay? What about it do you love? And put the question in your answer. I mean, put the question in your answer. Just put Magna Cut equals. Shane, good to have you here. Shane Gables carried my Hogue Deca, a gift from Jason Brown. Wow. Oh, that's double. Will B says, I just sent that what I meant by that's double is that's the two people who died this week touched that knife quite literally. That's something. Will B says, I just sent off a couple of knives that I've owned. Wait. I just sent off a couple of knives that I've not been carrying to Blades and EDC for his next sale. Will, what are those? Blades and EDC, and I don't. Oh, I know him. Okay. What were you giving away? Not giving away. What are you selling, or what's going into that kitty? I'm curious. Never enough because I'm like, I might want to tune in. Never Enough Knives 007 says today was the Bark River Gunny, very cool. The Buck 110, yes, with custom orange micarta slabs, and the Swiss Army knife Tinker used the Condor Village Parang for some yard cleanup. Very nice. I have my Condor Golok, and I keep that actually in a storage closet down here, just in case I'm in the storage closet and I have to vanquish a foe coming in. I have that Golok. That thing is a 1/4 inch thick. It's like for clearing redwood trees. It's not for clearing brush. They call it a machete, but it's a big, thick honker. It's more like for wood. And but I think since that was made, I think they have thinned that particular model out. Guys 25, good to have you here, guys. I got the blue Victor and love it. Oh yeah. It's such a nice color blue too. It's such nice micarta. And $40. That's K110 steel, which is analogous to D2. Great action and very cool contouring on the dorsal side of the handle. It really is comfortable without being too overcommitted. It's just kind of little steps. Very nice. Pretty much neutral. Byron says, I have the Concept Shikari. Shikari. Oh, wait. Shikari, that's the one. It's got bolsters. I'll remember in a sec. Off-grid all-day necker, which you got to hold on to now. And the American Buffalo Knife and Tool Stockman. I love a Stockman. Stockman traditionally is the large main blade, is a clip point, and then it has a little sheep's foot and a little spay blade, which doesn't make sense. Like the little spay blade to me is like, are you spaying squirrels? Like spay blade always should be large if you're going to use it for spaying something, because that something is large. You're not spaying squirrels. You're not spaying cats and gerbils with those. Son of Liberty 78, good to have you here, son of Liberty. Carried my PE Crewwear. Masad Ayub, so cool. That's 2 today. 2. That's the kind of class this show attracts. And M4 Carta Shaman today. Shaman. I mentioned class and then I say shaman. Felt pretty well prepared. Masad Ayub and the M4 micarta Shaman. Yeah, I mean, Masad Ayub, that's 100% tactical, good to go. And then the M4 micarta Shaman is also actually 100% tactical, good to go, but also 100% EDC, good to go. That's an awesome knife. And maybe that's the one I need to get. Nick EDC says, carrying the Chavez Liberation 229 full tie and the Hogue X5 SIG in spear point fashion. That's cool. Very nice. A lot of people carrying their Hogues today. Sharp and Stabby says Fox BlackRock Ryu. That's a sweet Tonto. Green micarta and the Viper Start green micarta. Is the Start the one that has the double quillions and it looks kind of like a cross between an Italian stiletto and a coffin handle Bowie knife, kind of. Italian and micarta kind of day. I love that. That's my kind of day. Italian and micarta. Jay says Magnicut equals thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. Edge stability of crew wear. Okay. Edge stability of crew wear. Bite of M4. Corrosion resistance approaching LC200N in practical scenarios. Favorite stainless steel these days and prefer it hard and thin. Con. Burr can be stubborn. Wow. Okay. Awesome. First of all, Jay, thanks for that really helped. But also that's really a comprehensive look at that steel from the ground. I mean, because we've had Laren on the show, and he talked about it from his perspective, and of course he's going to talk great about it, and he's also going to talk in a complex way that does not break it down as quickly as that does, and that's pretty much what he said encapsulated. So nicely done. James Moore, good to have you here, James. Hello, Knife Junkies, he says. Hello, James. I love the David Lespect you were showing off this week. I love that guy's knives. I met him and several other French knife makers in an elevator at the parking garage at Blade Show. And I had about 20 seconds to be like, je love all of your couteaus, you know, like just butchering. They're like, oh, yes, thank you, idiot. Dan Stermo says, sorry, Elementum button lock. Oh, okay. Cormorant is ugly but fun, and my only 3V steel knife. That's cool. Oh, that's nice. That's good for you. That's good for you, Dan. I'm glad you like the Cormorant. No, I'm just kidding. I kind of like it too. You know, in the way I thought E.T. was cute. You know, just ugly. Ket McNessart says the rib splitter is newish. I have heard so many good things and had to try one out. Yeah, definitely. The one I have, the Draug, which is, I think, zombie in Nordic, you know, Viking language. That thing is definitely 100% about stabbing in reverse grip. It is just a stabber. Actually, even the edge, which he could have brought to just a chisel edge, he put a secondary kind of half edge on it, and it actually makes it a little bit dull on the edge, unfortunately. I mean, not dull if it's already in the flesh and being pulled through it, but it's not sharp like you would peel an apple with it, like you could with if he had just gone with a straight chisel. So very, very defensive knives. I like them. Mr. VC says, Bob, before I forget, please return the Norseman to tier 1. Okay. He's got some other knives of mine, so he can send them together. Okay. Oh, that's perfect. All right, will do. Thank you, sir. Tier 1 it is. Will B says, BRS Evolve Kopesh and my Nimble X are off to Jamie at Blades and EDC. Oh, your Nimble X. Okay. No. I didn't want to buy that. That's cool. The BRS Evolve. I'm just kidding. The Kopesh. What an interesting knife to. Wait a sec. Is that the folder that looks nothing like a Kopesh? Or is that the small fixed blade that kind of looks like a Kopesh? This old sword says, forgot to mention Fixie for the day. Yes, riding in the pocket was the TKL Nightshade 2.25-inch Warney, and that's a double-edged Warney, which I at least I gathered from your photograph today. Double-edged Warney. Acid Test Kids, good to have you here, Acid. Only that Buck Bantam, only had the Buck Bantam BBW. Lightweight for disc golf carry. Oh, okay. So, well, you had to go light. What's BBW? What's BBW? Buck Bantam though. That'll keep you nice and light for the disc golf links. James Moore says current carry Thorburn L36M front flipper with 3.8-inch Nitrobi 777 blade, marbled carbon fiber scales, zirconium pivots, black Timascus collars, and spacer. But the new Rogers Cinco has been carried a lot too. Yeah, that Rogers is nice. Actually, they're kind of very opposite, wouldn't you say? If I'm remembering the Thorburn correctly and piecing it together from your description of quite an ornate knife, or I shouldn't say under embellished. And the Richard Rodgers very clean and Richard Rodgersy. Cool. Very, very nice range. Redacted, good to have you here, Redacted. Going forward, I will only purchase knives in Magna Cut. I need the superior performance of this steel when opening and closing my knife. And God knows D2 can't open envelopes for shit. That is so funny. Okay. Oh, man. You had me. You had me. I was like, really? I want to see this happen, Redacted. Yes, yes. It is superior when opening and closing my knife as well. Or when opening Amazon boxes containing knives that are in busted boxes that I'm just going to return again, like the last 2 cold steels I got will be. It's the folder that looks nothing like a Khopesh. Okay, all right, cool. I like BRS. Their designs, they're audacious. They will go there. And I like that. Shane says, Bob, Jason got a Smoky Mountain Knife Work gift card for his birthday and used it to buy me that Hogue. That's just who he was, the very best of us. That's amazing, man. That's awesome. That was the Hogue you were carrying today. Wow. Sharp Guy ATX. I have to say, I did not know him at all, Jason Brown, but I have seen an outpouring from people on Instagram, and so it leads me to believe I really missed out. Sharp Guy ATX says Benchmade Griptilian 551-1. Which one is that? Is the 551-1 with the hole and the hollow ground sheep's foot blade? I certainly hope so. I love that knife. Mitch Bowleg, good to have you here, Mitch. Spartan Palace primary and GEC White Owl secondary today. What's the White Owl? Spartan Palace, nice. Nice as a primary. Redacted says, I might pick up that Smoky Mountain Knife Works Scorpion Deca. It looks nice. Scorpion Deca. I don't know what the scorpion part refers to. I just don't know a lot of stuff, man. I keep saying I don't know. I don't know. What is that? Tell me. I'm just going to start faking and be like, oh, yeah. That's great. It's like when you see that person whose name you know, but then you second guess yourself right as you approach them and you say, you take a sip of your coffee and pretend it's extra hot. Oh, hey, man, how's it going? Damn, it's Dave, right? It's Dave, or is it John? That didn't happen to me in real life. Okay, so I want to show you before we get to the random knife giveaway, and I will flash this up again just to show it off. I want to show you a random knife from Hero Sticks that he loaned me. But first, this is the knife we're giving away, the Sativian ST109, like ME109. Okay, so it drops freely. I mean, it is a really solid rendition of the bar lock. Solid. It is super, super, super smooth. Very, very, very solid. I mean, no blade play at all. And just I'm just incredibly impressed with this silly knife, especially at the cost. And it's D2, and the grind is even. And I have not cut with it, but it's feels nice and thin behind the edge, and this is a great knife. I should say, I do not own any Sativians, but this one has been here as like this is a way station for a short period, and now I send it on to you. All you got to do is hashtag knife for a chance to win. This is just for live stream only, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But let me show you. We'll spin the wheel or randomly select in a minute. But first, check this out. Okay, this is a new one from Boker, or new-ish. It's on washers, which totally has me enamored because everything these days is on caged bearings, which is also very nice. But okay, so this is the Field Folder by Vox. Jesper Voxnez. This is a D2 knife with G10 and nested liners and a liner lock and a deep carry pocket clip with flat screws and a crowned brass backspacer. This is a great knife. Okay, I haven't used it yet, and I'm not going to use it, but I have held it, hefted it, and was really examining it before my interview with Chaz Fisher of Boker, which you'll see this weekend. I was just kind of examining it and checking it out also because Hero sent it to me, and he's got really great and varied taste. And I was looking at it. What about this drew him to it? And I got to know pretty quickly, at least what draws me to it. It's got really nice washer action, which I am really in love with. Ergonomically, it's a dream. Feels great in hand. If you want to put your thumb up on the blade, you've got jimping right up at the right spot, just forward of the opening, the lozenged shaped opening. Just a great all-arounder. And the fact that it's called the Field Folder, to me, says it all. It's a field knife. It's a do-all knife. Jack of all trades, master of EDC. Very cool knife. I kind of want it. Kind of want to get one. I would love it even more in green micarta. I think this would look so cool in green micarta with that black tumbled blade. But hey, you can't always get what you want. And so let's see. Spidey flick. Not really. Not without wrist. And maybe altering the action a little bit, which I would never do because this is not my knife, and I would never do if it were my knife because I like how solid it feels. This knife is light but feels solid, just like really, really solid. So awesome knife from Boker. I just love Boker, and for a while it was hard to admit because when I started, I don't know, tuning into knife videos around 2008, 2009, Boker was going through some sort of a QC problem that year, or those first couple of years that I was watching videos, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, oh, okay, these must be not good, but I better get this knife. You know, I got the F3 and I got the Squale and a couple of like knives that I could never get custom, and they have all been awesome. Excuse me, to a knife, they've been awesome. Blame Dexter says Scorpion from Mortal Kombat themed Deca. Oh, okay. All right. That's one of your video games, isn't it? Byron Kennedy says, wait, Bob, have you not sent those Cold Steels back to Amazon? Is this not week 3? No, wait. The first Cold Steel I sent back immediately, and I got the Taipan, and that worked out well. And then last week you saw the Marauder, and no, I sent that back. I sent that back because I want the money because I'm going to spend it on something else because it was already spent on one Bowie and returned to me. It's got to go out for another Bowie. So I think it's going to be the Frontier, the 1917 Frontier from Cold Steel. Redacted says it's the Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive Deca and Magnacut. The scales are marbled carbon fiber, yellow and black like Scorpion. Okay. All right, cool. Was he the dude who threw the fireballs? Sharp Guy ATX, I forgot to greet you and say hello, and it's nice to have you. I actually didn't recognize your name, but I was looking at your picture and thinking that looked like a cool hat. So Sharp Guy, welcome, sir. Gray G10 blue hardware clip point. Okay, custom Pops clip. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's cool. And Pops, the guy who started Pops just died too last week, I believe. Mitch Bowley, good to have you here, Mitch. White Owl is a model 68 clip point and pen blade. Nice. GECs. I got to get back into the GECs. Except now it's too competitive. I just don't have that in me right now about slip joints enough to like wait around hitting the button. It's very competitive to get those these days. Sharp and Stabby says the Viper Keeper is a model that has quillions. The start is a little larger 4-inch kind of bayonet blade with some belly to it. Okay. Sorry. Keeper is cool. I do like that with the quillion. So I'm assuming you can wave it out using quillions. I mean, when I see quillions, I think wave. It's like I'm carrying the I also have this on me. You can do the same thing with that knife. Very, very cool. All right, so let's give away this knife. I hope you all had a chance to hashtag knife in the comments. If you haven't, What can I say? You can lead a horse to water, not that you're horses, but you can't make them drink. All right, so here it is. It's the Citivian ST109, and it could be your Citivian ST109 with its amazing Axis style lock action. Looks like a pretty good plunge grind, D2 blade steel, thin blade, evenly ground edge. Really nice micarta, though mismatched. One side is darker than the other. Serviceable loop over pocket clip. Really nice thumb studs. Great looking blade. It could be yours. Hashtag knife. Let's do this, shall we? Let's see. What did Jim only 15 people interested. All right. 46 are watching. Only 15 are interested. Okay. Like I said, nothing I can do about that. Let's get to it. Let's pick who gets this free knife. A brand new knife. Okay, let's do it. All right, let's see. Where will it stop? I hope it's not anyone that I just sent something to. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God. Oh, Manaja. That's exactly who I just sent a bunch of stuff. Not a bunch of stuff. I just sent a knife to Will B. Will B, you got another knife coming. Congratulations, sir. Will B won this awesome knife. It's your week, man. It's Will's knife week. He just got a Predator 2 from me. He got a 940 Rift, and now he's got a Citivian ST109. And this is all while he's waiting around for his Norseman to get tweaked into, the stratosphere. So very nicely done, sir. You have the luck of the Irish, as they say. This is going to Will B. I will put it aside, earmarked for Will B. All right. Feels good. Feels good giving away a knife. All right. Another thing that feels good. Let's talk about this for a second. Hey, Happy Haptics. Good to have you. What's going on? Aaron. I think yeah. What's going on? What's good, Aaron? Such a yank. All right, so here we go. This is the new knife, the Dundee from Bestech Man. Bestech Man is the new budget line from Bestech Knives. And this is made of D2 blade steel. This is made of G10. Very nicely nested liners. No weight relief, but that's okay. It's nice and light and very well balanced. And you can probably tell from looking at that handle, it's designed by Ostap Hell. Ostap Hell, amazing Polish designer. He's the guy who designed one of the first front flippers, or at least one of the first very popular front flippers. And if you can remember what that's called, drop it in the comments. I did like it, but it stabbed me a number of times. So I had to cast it into the outer darkness. Here, this one is a clip point blade, as is belied by the name, Dundee. Of course, it was actually, wow, thanks, Bob, says Will. My pleasure, sir. It is my pleasure. This is, yes, named after the Crocodile Dundee and his Bowie knife. This is, if you look at it in silhouette, it is a clip point. It's a long clip starting right here, right after the thumb jimping, and it terminates at the tip. So sort of a stylized, modernized clip point, very subtle, with that beautiful fuller in it, which unfortunately, I mean, it's very, let's see. Yep. Oh, okay. If you really, really work at it and bury your thumb in there, it is sharp enough to pop that open, but there is not much exposure to that fuller. It appears, the lock bar is in the way a little bit there, and I think if you're a lefty, let's see if I could. There's no way. I mean, I could, if you're a lefty and you're very adept at opening, a fuller opening from the left hand, you might be able to get this. I'm just not coordinated enough to. There, a little bit. Okay, this thing is very cool and feels very high quality. Like, I don't even like, it's supposed to be their budget line. It doesn't feel like a budget knife to me, and I'm not exactly sure what that even means, but it feels high quality, like everything Bestech touches to me. I love Bestech. I think their manufacturing is awesome, and I love what they do in the way of their collaborations with designers. I love what they do. I love their OEM work. I love their in-house stuff. So, what do you think of Bestech Man? Is this something? Obviously, it's something that they needed, because I think prices can't help but creep up the better you get with something, and then you have to reassess and come out with a different product line that takes advantage of all of the chops you've developed and the processes that you've developed, but you can you can use different, less expensive materials, um, and still make money. Happy Haptics says, Bobby is got to check out your review of the Norcy from last week. Curious to know what you thought. Actually, Happy, I'm putting it up tomorrow. I did a close-up view. It's sublime. I mean, and I'm not using that word lightly. It is more than beautiful. It is a transcendent knife. That sounds so corny, and I don't mean transcendent, but it is one of those kind of impossible seeming knives. It's so smooth and so well, everything about it. It's just so dialed in. And that Mr. VC's is 6,200, and I can't remember what like 85 or something. So the brothers, John and Eric Grimsmo, had 6,257 of them to perfect before they got to Mr. VC's, and his is like the pinnacle. You know what I mean? And each one is better and better and better, and I was just incredibly impressed. So yeah, quite cool. Bestech Man. Bestech Man. Well, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? I need to hear something. Name, weird name, and any interest in this knife? I should think there is. I mean, this is a super classy, stylish knife. This is something like Boker Burnley Quaken that you could slip in your back pocket next to your wallet, or in your front pocket next to your phone. It kind of has that sort of slender, sleek profile. But also, what is the knife, guys? What is the knife? The Ostap Hell front flipper. You'll let me know in a minute. It has that feel too. So this thing is pretty cool, and I think I want to see what the other designs are that they come out with. I think they're going to do well with this, because if you can get Bestech quality for even less, why not? Why wouldn't you? Excuse me. Will be. I like that knife. Looks sleek. Yeah, it is. It is sleek. And actually, D2 blade steel, and you might see stains in there. I took the girls out to the diner last night. I am Mr. Mom for the week, and I got steak and eggs, and actually you can't really see it in the light, but it stained this blade, and I can see it with my naked eye here. I can't really see it through the viewfinder, but the D2 blade steel, just a little bit stained. I was like, all right, maybe I could work on a patina on this knife. But this was awesome for steak knife. You sure you don't want a steak knife? Yes, I'm sure I don't want one of your disgusting steak knives. Thank you very much. Mitch Bolick says, Bestech Man sounds more like a model than a brand. Bestech Man. Yeah, I'll throw you the blue ice. Speaking of blue ice, I like that Thunderhead blue handle. Mitch Bolick says, Metamorph. Yes, Metamorph. I can never remember the name of that knife. Yes, it definitely has a Metamorph vibe in the handle. Very similar. It looks like a Gonzo FH11. I don't know the Gonzo FH11. I like the looks of the Bestech Man. So this looks like a Gonzo FH11. I'm trying to think. I thought I got my daughter an FH11. Maybe. The handle of this has more contours and is more sculpted, and the FH11 blade is like a straight spine. So a little bit different, but yeah, I could see the resemblance. I think they should have gone with less tech. Oh, that's good, Mitch. That's good. I'm going to start using that. And I'll credit you the first couple of times, and then it will have become mine. So beware. No, I'm just kidding. I won't use that, but I love it. Less tech. Yes, they should. They should call it less tech. That's a great idea. Bestech Man. I don't know. I don't know. Just seems a little slightly tone deaf of a name. Just a little bit, you know. Um, and it doesn't. And when I say tone deaf, I don't mean just. Yeah, I mean also in terms of how it sounds. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue, but who knows? I've gotten used to Civivi, you know, so I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it'll work out just fine. But I do like that Best Tech is doing a more budget line uh, thing. So as you know, last 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got the Taipan down on the name, up on the knife. Says never enough knives. I'd agree. I'd agree. Dundee is actually even, you know, when you think of Dundee and you think of that knife, you think of something more like this. Now, this is not the knife. Down Under Knife Company from Australia makes a knife just like the one featured in that movie. And that's been on my kind of like lurking around the internet list. I've always wanted that knife. It's got a single quillion curved brass guard, stacked leather handle, and a brass pommel, sort of similar to this setup here. And that blade, it's just beautiful. Uh, I might have to get that, but it does come in kind of a cheesy sheath, alligator leather, with fobs hanging off with like fake alligator teeth and stuff. Hopefully they're fake. Nick EDCer says, whoever named the budget brand was clearly tired and ready to call it a day. Yeah, I don't know, man. Let's just call it Bestech Man. I don't know, man. That's it? Bestech Man, something like that. Yeah. Weston Probst. I would love to be on some of the naming meetings of some of these Chinese companies. Yeah. 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 Admittedly, their English is way better than my Chinese, but yeah, some of it is funny. Please use it. Say it with pride. Less tech. Okay. I love uh not not quite let's see, best tech for less men. Best tech for less men. Yeah, less tech. That's hilarious. A best tech for less, but all the best tech you can handle. Really, I mean, it's got the great construction, no doubt. But it doesn't remind me of a Dundee, that's for sure. But cute name nonetheless. We had Ostap Hell on the show. He's a very cool guy. Um, we talked to him right during the pandemic, somewhat in the middle, and he had just had a baby like the day before, and he was talking to me like it was not like it was nothing, but I only found out like at the end of the conversation that he had just had a baby. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? He was like, I didn't want it to affect the interview. Like it would have positively affected the interview. That's what I think of when I think of Dundee. Love this thing. What do you think of guys? What do you think of Bowie's? I don't know. I don't know. I tend to think that people don't like clip points in folders that much, but I don't know. I don't know. I think that people think that they're a little not very utilitarian because of where the point is. Usually, the point is not in the center line or lower position. So I don't feel that way. Let me show you a couple of new knives that just came in from Elite Tactical. All right, so this is a company, Master Cutlery, reached out to me. Master Cutlery is an umbrella company for a number of brands. M-Tech is one of them. Elite Tactical is one of them. Uh, uh, um, Ridge Runner or Mossy Oak, or there are a number of budget knife brands under this one umbrella, and I'm a Best Tech less man, says Caleb Townsend. And they reached out to me, said we are Master Cutlery. We have a number of brands, and we're really about getting excellent, usable, utilitarian knives in the hands of people who need them and use them, but don't have a lot of money to spend on knives, but might be interested in something cool. I said, all right, I like it. They said, okay, can we send you a couple models? And I said, yes. And they sent me 4, and actually 2 of them are over there. I should have brought them over, but 2 of them are kind of novelty knives, and they're charming and cute. One of them looks like a bomb, and it has a blade that pops out, and the other one looks like a beer can. It has a blade and a bottle opener, but they're actually both very stout and pretty well-made knives, for what they are. They're novelty knives, but they could really be used. These other 2 come from their elite tactical company, and this is, as you could guess, EDC/tactical knives here. First one is called the Parallax. This is in D2 blade steel, and it's got a sculpted G10 handle, deep carry pocket clip. You've got it says Elite there. This is a aluminum backspacer, and then let's take a look at it. It has very nice action. Pops open with that flipper tab. It's got an interesting blade shape. I can't quite figure out this blade shape, or what I want to call it. It's a drop point. It's like a clipped drop point or something, or maybe it's a modified clip point. What it kind of reminds me of is the Off-Grid Knives Scorpion, just kind of squashed a little bit. Here, let me show you what I mean. Kind of like the Off-Grid Scorpion, but squashed. That's exactly what I mean, right? You can see that comparison. And then this has a lock on it that is quite unique. Now I got to bust this open and take a look at it, but you can use it single. Unlike a bar lock, I tend to. Where is my bar lock? I tend to want to use a bar lock with both fingers to pull back. My thumb and my forefinger. I guess I don't have one out here. But this one you can do just with the thumb. It presents on both sides, but you don't need to use both sides, which I like. But the lock is not a bar lock at all. If you look down in here, you'll see this bar is attached to a liner with a notch in it, and after that, I'm not exactly sure how it works. So I got to take a look inside this. I'm going to pop it open and look. But this is D2 blade steel. Like I said, sturdy. I mean, this thing's a stout knife. This one in particular has not such a very even edge. The edge was not ground very evenly on this one. Not terrible. Not terrible, but you can see it thin out right here and then widen out. And it cuts paper pretty well. I will put my own edge on this, but I'm going to do some testing with it first and see how this is. I mean, to feel it in hand, it is very sturdy. I feel quite confident with this knife in hand, though I'm unsure of how the lock works. So, but I'm pretty sure that confidence is warranted. Oh, I see. I do see how it works now. There's a little bar here. And then there's a crossbar that drops into a notch in the back of the blade here. Very deep in the back of the blade. All right. Well, anyway, I will take that apart and see how it works up close. But really nice knife in reverse grip. The ergonomics of this are really good. Feels really excellent in hand, and it's got a nice width and a nice solid feel to it. This is the Parallax from Elite Tactical in D2. And despite the edge not being very evenly ground, the blade itself is very nicely ground. All right, so we'll see about that. And then they sent me another one. I was like, I do like big stuff, and I saw you have a big knife. So they have this big folder, and I'm digging it. I must admit, it's an 8CR13 MOV and GRN, so not the highest grade materials, but a sweet knife at 4.75 inches in blade length. It has that same sort of lock. Now I'm forgetting. They have a name for it, and I don't remember what it is. And I'll in my reviews I will let you know. But still getting used to using this big lock. But it's got a nice big blade and a nice big handle. Similar to the cold steel large blades, um, it's girthy enough to be able to control this large blade, and then it gives you grip options. It gives you a full four finger grip all the way down here, or you come up into the two finger choils and be right here. It's got that nice swale on the back. Looks a bit like a Mac V Sog Bowie with those two peaks, though this is concave or convex instead of concave. Very nicely ground edge on this one. So somewhat inconsistent between the two. I'm not sure if they're made by the same factory or what, but this larger knife is called the Conqueror, and it's got a relatively broad blade here and a relatively thin blade, and it's pretty darn slicey. It just in my very informal paper cut test, as soon as I opened the box, it did a lot better than this knife. But I think this knife, this Parallax, just suffers from a not so even blade grind. It's sharp. It's good and sharp. You could do a lot of work with this, but before I, were to make it mine, I would sharpen it up. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think of this knife? I mean, I know what I think of this knife. I actually really like this knife. If you say you want a big folder in your car and maybe do not want to leave a $80 Voyager or a hundred, a large, an expensive, large cold steel knife, you might consider getting this because it is solid and sturdy. It is 8CR13 MOV, which is not the greatest steel on earth, but if you want a large folder to keep around for emergencies, this would be a great option, I believe. All of that is being said without actually having tested the knives. These will have to do a weekend duty around the backyard, just messing around just to see how they feel and how long the edges on them last. Cold Steel has used 8CR13 MOV in the past 5 years, and with their heat treating prowess, it's been fine. It's been good. So we'll see how this works out. Deep carry pocket clip, very comfortable handle. It's got that lock again, and Elite, the Conqueror. So interesting to get these. Not honestly, not anything that was on my radar, and frankly, not something that I would have pursued. But when they came to me and said, take a look at our catalog and see if there's anything there that interests you, I saw the large folder and I was like, that interests me because no one else is doing it besides Cold Steel. Yes, Kershaw has dabbled a little bit, and I liked that knife just fine, but it was not, it was more of a gentleman's dual knife, when you're wearing your tux, than a hard use large folder like this or like the Cold Steels. Not that I'm comparing this to the Cold Steels, but my sister says you look loaded. First time she's ever watched you, Bob. Nah, not loaded. I'm tired. I'm loaded on coffee. I don't get loaded anymore. I stopped. Actually, I have been loaded on this show, and I caught myself slurring once, and I was like, that's got to stop. But yeah. I'm not loaded. I've been Mr. Mom this week, and my daughters are awesome. So they have not run me ragged, but maybe I just don't sleep enough. Weston Probe says, I like it when premium brands make a budget line. I do too. It's kind of like Lexus and Acura being the premium lines of rather pedestrian car companies. Rather pedestrian. I drive a Honda, so I guess I'm rather pedestrian, but you know what I mean. Would it be considered a leaf-shaped blade? I think it could be a swedged leaf-shaped blade or a clipped leaf-shaped blade. I don't know. What do you think? I think the handle reminds me a little bit of the old, a little bit of Strider, the way it widens out towards the pommel. It also reminds me a slight bit of, just in profile of the Evo, just a little bit. It's just that widening out. And now I hear people yelling at their screens. But hey, say what you will. Looks like a faceted spear point, a fear point. Oh my gosh, a wordsmith. We have a wordsmith. Yes, it is a fear point. Too bad. Maybe we need to introduce less tech to the fear point blade. That would be something. Modified spear clip works. I think, Weston. I think you're right about that. Modified spear point or fear point. Mitch Bolick says, "Oh, kind of like the Glenn Klecker notch lock, later popularized through the 8015 Scorpion lock." Yes, yes, exactly. I forgot about the Klecker knives. I had a 2 plastic Klecker knife kits for my older daughter when she was real little. I did everything I could to indoctrinate her into the way of the blade. Toxic Gamer 357. What's the length of which one? The large one is 4.75. The smaller one, I'm guessing 3.25. 3.4 inches. 3.4 inches on this one. On the Obliterator. What are they calling this? The Parallax 3.4. Mitch Bullock says it's going to be in competition with the Cold Steel SR1 Light for the car knife. Oh, yes. That SR1 Light. Also in 8CR13 MOV. I want that knife. In Tonto. Yeah. I don't know why I've never gotten an SR1. Probably because of the size. There was a period of time where I vowed never to get another Cold Steel folder outside of the gargantuan, outside of the, nothing below 5.5 inches, basically, because I was like, I'm not going to carry a 4-inch Cold Steel. I'm just not, but I will carry a 5.5-inch Cold Steel. I don't know why. It's just how I am. So there you go. Popping in late, says Mike. Yeah, good to have you here, Mike. Hi, Bob, Jim, and everyone. Well, good evening to you, sir. We're talking about this brand, Elite Tactical, which is a budget brand and sub-brand of Master Cutlery, who I'd never heard of until they reached out to me. And they make a big folder, and it seems pretty damn nice and pretty damn useful for $35 or whatever. It's going for something very inexpensive. Or I think it's like $45. But it's big, 4.75 inches, feels great in hand, feels very solid, but we'll see. I don't know. I got to bang on it just a little bit. Byron says, I think I should wait for the Recon 1 XL V2. Are they coming out with an XL 1 V2? You might have to wait because these suckers are hard to come by, especially in XHP. Here it is. Let me show you by way of comparison. So still a smaller knife than the Recon 1 XL and the Voyager, etc. But still a pretty nice chunk of a knife. Here's the Begleiter XL. We all know that's a pretty big knife. So yeah, that thing is pretty big. Pretty big. So you might be someone who thinks they might want to spend a lot of money on a large Cold Steel, but not sure if you need a large knife in your life. You might want to go that route first. See if a knife like this works. Hey, Bob, do you have any Dawson knives? No, I do not have any Dawson. Asked Mike. Dawson, I first got wind of 2 years ago, which is weird. I don't know, just never. Checked them out at Blade Show both years in a row and really dig it. Really dig their knives. But just no, I don't have any. I'd like to. Sigh. I do have another knife to show off. This is an odd one. Comes to me from Hero Sticks, and it's from a company I mentioned earlier called Glow Rhino. Glow Rhino. Yep, that's right. Glow Rhino. Here, let me show you the box. This is the Glow Rhino box. And the knife is called the Lightbringer. And the Lightbringer was designed by the Williamsons of Ferrum Forge and made for this company, Lightbringer. And I'm just going to read you what this card says. It says, designed for you by Ferrum Forge, professionally illuminated with self-powered tritium. That's what this company does. Handles, G10, blade steel, nitro V, ceramic ball bearings, proudly built in Detroit with Swiss tritium. Follow us, blah, blah, blah. So my question is, does proudly built in Detroit mean made in Detroit? Or does that mean assembled in Detroit from Chinese parts? Not that I care either way. I'm just curious because the term built is a term, you hear people say, oh, that's a beautiful build. And usually they're talking about a custom knife or something that's very, so it just makes me wonder that use of the word built. Are they trying to avoid saying made in Detroit? And by saying built, it's being assembled? I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm just curious. But this is the Glow Rhino Lightbringer. And look at that. That's a cool looking blade. They're calling that a sheep's foot. And I guess I would call it a sheep's foot too. It's kind of a worn, cliffy sheep's foot. It's got this beautiful swedge right up front of that very sharp and thin Nitro V blade. Nice jimping. It's got this area to me is all ferrum forged. That pivot flipper area just looks very ferrum forged to me. Nice neutral handle. Just really feels perfect in hand. It feels great in hand. I do not feel that loop over pocket clip at all. Sometimes deep carry pocket clips can get in the way. This is a single screw and in a recessed pocket with a flat screw. Very nicely done. Glow Rhino. Looks like there's no weight relief in there. Nested liners. And then on the thumb stud, there is some tritium. A tiny little right there in the thumb stud. And then on the back, there's some tritium. And I know that this is a aesthetic flourish. And I know that I get it. Like people like tritium the way people like micarta, like people like carbon fiber. But what is the utility of that? Is there utility, or is that just I'm okay? I was reading somewhere, I think maybe on the Glow Rhino website, that you can find it in a dark room, but which in some circumstances could be very useful. Where's my folder? It's a dark room. There it is. It's glowing. I got it. But how long? And this is actually something I don't know about tritium. Does it stay charged for a long time? Because it would kind of have to be useful in that dark room scenario. It would have to be glowing all night long to make sense for that to work. Interesting sharpening choil there. Definitely looks like there's plenty of room on that plunge grind to sharpen it a few times, but weird placement with the thumb stud. It looks like, let me see. It doesn't appear as if that thumb stud can be removed. Maybe it can. I'm not sure. Maybe it can, but that thumb stud looks like it's kind of in the way of like it looks like it's directly above the edge termination, which means you might have to take off that thumb stud to not to get the right edge, to not bump into your stones and that kind of thing. I don't know. Hero, do you have any insight on that? Have you tried to sharpen that yet? Yuri Testikov, good to see you, Yuri. Glow Rhino made a nice premium knife about a year ago. Small, simple, robust. If I'm remembering correctly, yes, they did. There's another one. It was a little, almost looked like a combination between like a kind of a Bill Harsey kind of, and a Hoos blade, Hoos, out of Great Britain. It kind of had a look like a what do you call it? A combination of those. Yuri Testikov says assembled Chinesium. Assembled Chinesium. Could be. Honey Bear 85. Good to have you here, Honey Bear. Drop my knife behind the couch. There it is. Tritium glows for DD. I get you. Decades or more. Holy crap. And does it need to be charged, honey? I tried to see it earlier doing one of these things, but that didn't really work out. Mitch Bolig, you rock, man. You guys run the best live. I'm out for the night, but super thanks. Before you go, don't go, Mitch. Let me give you a salute real quick. All right. Haven't pulled out this honey in a while. Let me salute you, Mitch, with my Hogtooth Knives Loveless Subhilt Fighter. Here's to you, Mitch. Thank you so much for the support, and thank you for keeping the conversation going. It's greatly appreciated. Here's to you, sir. You have a fine evening and a great weekend. All right. Thanks, Mitch. Love doing that. Oh man, this knife. I was noodling around with this knife earlier, and you know what I've noticed? It's funny. I've been doing a little bit of work with one of those maces. Do you know those things that kind of like kettlebells, but it's a mace. You know, you swing it around, do various exercises. And I have noticed since holding onto that mace, some of my heavier knives, like the Shining Mountain Bowie. I'm going to say Bowie. Pretend I'm a Southerner. Shining Mountain Bowie feels like it's not so heavy anymore. You know, feels more. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting stronger. But it feels good in hand, and I like that. Hungry Bird, how you doing, Hungry Bird? Good evening, everyone. I've been enjoying your past videos for the last month. Thanks, Bob. Hungry Bird, you've been commenting like crazy. I've been noticing. Thank you so much, man. And I'm glad you like all the back content. That's awesome. Projects with Paul. Good to have you here, Projects. Hey, everyone, he says. I should call you Paul, probably. Hey, Paul. Good to have you here, Paul. I'm not sure why I'm saluting with this, but it's such a great knife. I love me the Shiny Mountain Bowie. That is a beauty. You too. Thank you, man. Here's to you. I mentioned earlier Glow Rhino. I'm putting the Glow Rhino back, but an interesting knife. And the action feels like it is bearings, but I think it needs to be blown out and sort of lubricated and such. I got to say, Hero keeps his knives immaculately. And so I'm not sure how much use this one has gotten, but man, interesting knife. Thanks, Hero. Yuri says, needs to be dark, visible, and precise on a piece. Oh, okay. But I think it's incredible that it stays. It can show for years or decades. All right. So when I got my Taipan, which is something I want to show real quick, and then I'm going to show you something else too. But when I got the Taipan, much to my dismay, it was not very sharp on the edge. Have a good night, brethren. Yuri, have a great night, sir. It's always good to hear from you, Yuri. It's always good to hear from all of y'all. So have a fine evening, sir, and a great weekend. The Taipan was not as sharp on the edge as expected. So I know you've been waiting on tenter hooks to find this out, but I have sharpened it. I have sharpened it, and it is absolutely sticky sharp and just nasty, as it should be at this point. So I know you're all breathing a sigh of relief. Thank God Bob got decent edges on that Taipan, because that is really half of the recipe with the Taipan. It is not just a thrusting implement. It is a slashing implement with those quad hollow ground bevels. You better have a sharp edge on those. And they were serviceable, but I like more than serviceable. I like insanely sharp. And so I got this nice and very sharp, and it wasn't difficult. That's VG10 San Mai. So it's what is it, a 420 jacket around VG10. So VG10 is pretty easy to get razor sharp. So I know you're all relieved about that. And September is National Preparedness Month. Has been since what is it, 2005, I think. That Taipan is a beaut. I love the Taipan. Izzy, it took me like very many years to get that, like over 20, I'm pretty sure. Paul says, wow, that is beautiful. Yeah, well, you know what? It is beautiful. Look at that thing. It's bigger than I expected too. It's a 7.5-inch blade. So yeah, this thing is a sweetie. And then you've got the noggin knocker on back. So if you were ever to use this in reverse grip, it's not very friendly to put that over there, but this is big enough and grippy enough and has a big enough guard that I would feel secure just not capping it and just using it like this. But my lifestyle does not dictate knife fighting, or does not require knife fighting. So I don't. As I was mentioning, September is National Preparedness Month. It's the time to reflect and reassess your plan and your kit, and being informed and all that. And it struck me while I was going through my collection tonight that this is something to show off, because this would make a fantastic uh, uh, survival kit implement. And I'll tell you about that in just a second, but I want to answer this question. What's the thickness on that taipan? 3/16. This is I don't know. I just can't tell. Hang on. I do have a ruler here. This might lend a clue. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, wait. I'll use the centimeter, the millimeter side. Sorry, guys. 5 millimeters thick. What does that equal? 3/16? I don't know. I'm embarrassed. You know what happens? I mean, when I used to have the green mat down with all of the lines, and I would just try and count how many inches a blade was. It's like I got stage fright every time I had to do that. And just now, having to measure in front of all you people, I just got stage fright. It's weird. Looks stout for a hollow quad hollow. It is. It is very stout. I'm going to show you one aspect of this. Look at the tip. It's hard to see now. It's like an elongated pyramid. It is a very stout knife. I recently watched a video of a guy showing himself stabbing through a coat and a bunch of stuff with this knife versus other daggers, and it just kind of went in real easily. All right, so this is the Bone Daddy Blade Works Axis, and the reason I'm bringing this out is because of National Preparedness Month. This thing is an axe and a knife and a survival implement, much like what we were carrying probably when we were just hominids of some sort, and not even like fully fledged human beings. It is an ancient style tool in modern D2. This thing is really cool. You can watch videos I've done, and I've had the maker of this on, and we've talked about it at length. But this thing is an axe head and a knife, so you can mount this. There's a video I have of this in the woods doing this. Mount this thing on a sapling. You can chop the sapling down with this. That looks like a Tonto, but it's a big, sharp axe blade. It's very sharp, but also pretty obtuse. You chop down your sapling, you split the top, you put this over. It comes with paracord. You wrap the paracord around, and you have a solid axe that you can use for all sorts of survival, shelter making, trap making, whatever. And yeah, Weston says, wow, that's cool. Yeah, check out Bone Daddy Blade Works. This thing is really cool. Izzy says that Bone Daddy is awesome. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It's unique and different, but also about as undifferent as it can get, because it's based on something so ancient. So it's 5 millimeters is 1/4 inch thick. This is not a 1/4 inch thick. So maybe it's not millimeters. I'm sorry, guys. I my calipers are over there, and I'm not gonna. But I'm gonna trust you, because I don't trust myself. I think it's 4 millimeters. I don't know. It's hard for me to measure with this thing here. It's thick enough to go in, but not too thick not to go in. How does that work? Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to show this thing off. An option if you need to build out your kit and you want to add something. I mean, this is not a light option. However, it is lighter than having a fixed blade and an axe. That's for sure. It's also 25.4 millimeters is 1 inch. It's lighter than carrying an axe for sure, but it's also more versatile. It's just a cool thing. And yeah, just came across it and was like, oh, it's National Preparedness Month. I have to tell the people about the Bone Daddy Blade Works. Also, he does not recommend it, and neither do I unless you're wearing gloves. But this would make one heck of a knuck. I mean, look at this. You know, sorry. It's like the ultimate fist pack. I'm a dummy when it comes to math. I am too. You know what? I am too. I am too. I don't have to be, but even if I were good at math, I've shut it down so many times. 1.87 equals 4.6 millimeters. Yeah, I think that's what it is, according to Google. Sorry, I asked y'all. Yeah, no more math on this show ever again. Knives 101, good to have you here. Knives 101, I like your Pantera avatar. Thoughts and prayers going out to Jason's family, Sarah and Nora. We love and miss Jason Brown. Rest in peace, brother Jason Brown. Thank you, Knives 101. Thank you for that heartfelt message. The only I only know from seeing the impact his death has had on people. Like I mentioned, I didn't know the gentleman. So thank you for putting that here. And you know, Gary Goroski says, hi, Bob. Hey, Gary, just bought a CQC 15 pre-owned. I need aftermarket scales. Can you point me in the right direction? Yes, sir, I can. Go to Vantage Point Knife Works or Blade Works on Instagram. Vantage Point is awesome. Do I have his? I don't have anything of his out. I have 2 Emersons that he's done, that I've done videos on. It's Tom Engelson. He used to go as under Blades and Such on Instagram, and then as he got more popular, decided to make a more serious name or something like that. And he's Vantage Point. Awesome. You will not be disappointed. Not only that, but you'll get your CQC 15 back, and it will have even better action. Chu Chang, good to have you here, Chu. Best budget knife brand between Gonzo, Sativian, and Effengrow. I have no Effengrow experience. I won't, because they do a lot of clones, and I cannot. Or maybe they're not technically clones because they put their own name on it, but they just steal designs. So Effengrow is out of the running for me. Gonzo, I guess, did Gonzo do some of that way back in the day? I think they did, but I think they have gone legit, like they say about the gangsters in the movies. Sativian, so I've had the most experience, I guess, with Sativian, and it's awesome. So I guess, Chu, I guess I would put that question out to viewers, because I cannot comment on Effengrow. The Sativian we just gave away to Will B is really good and very inexpensive. Now, that is with the caveat of I have not used it. I've not had it and used it across time and been able to establish that it's awesome through experience. I'm curious, Bob, how's that Project Z with Hogstooth progressing? Care to share? It is in a materials acquisition phase, and Matt is also finishing up some book orders. You may have seen recently, I'm not sure if you follow him, Byron, but you may have seen recently a beautiful EDC knife that will look somewhat similar to what we're doing with a hamon. Ours will not have a hamon, I don't think, because I want to keep the price point where I think they'll be sold. But it is moving slow and steady. We'll put it that way. But we're both excited about this, and he wants to build it in 3/16 154, I believe, and that's what he's waiting on. Nomadic Adventures, good to thanks for asking, by the way, Byron. Nomadic Adventures, good to have you here, Nomadic. Kind, caring people are hard to find. Unfortunately, the values are being lost. Yes, they are, but to anyone who has children, they're your greatest opportunity to continue those values. So I think I'm doing it. I think my wife and I are doing it, and I'm sure all of you out there with kids are doing it in your way. But there's no one out there who doesn't think they're doing that with their kids. Even the people we disagree ardently with think they're doing the right thing. So, but in terms of values, I'm just a traditional guy. I was raised in a traditional family, and I went way far untraditional in my art school days, and then I remember my uncle saying, "Don't worry, Bob. One day you'll be a rock-ribbed conservative, Bobby." He said it in his Cleveland accent, and I was like, "No way, Uncle Bob. It's not going to happen, Uncle Bob." And I still don't like the word conservative necessarily, but I'm an old school guy. I'm a traditional guy, and he was right. Some of the art school stuff evaporated, and the stuff that my parents instilled in me was still there. Funny. Shane says Sitivian is effing grow. Oh, huh. Fact, he says. I like that. Fact. That's the mic drop. I didn't know that. Sitivian looks. This is strictly from pictures, but it looks rougher than effing grow. Rougher, tougher. Uh, um, yeah, like you can see, if you want a Strider SNG, get an effing grow. That's what I don't like. I don't like that. You got to draw a line somewhere, and I guess my line is pretty far down, but it stops before effing grow. Nomadic Adventures says, been blessed at second opportunity. Correct small things. Manners are important in this home. He is learning. That's great. That's great. Correct small things. Manners are important in this home. They are very important in this home too. Also, never say shut up. At least we don't. It's funny because I that's just something my wife and I just sort of organically came to. But growing up, that was like streng verboten in the house. Could not say that. Hungry Bird. I thought CH Knives was effing grow. Oh, I'm pretty sure CH Knives is also effing grow. Their not marketing, but their presentation is very similar. I have proof, says Shane. Is it a hidden thing? And I would love to see the proof. But I mean, is this something that they were trying to keep kind of under wraps? Sometimes companies get squirrely. I think if you're just as straightforward as possible, people will accept you. If they like your knives and they want your knives, people will accept. They don't give a damn. So just be straight. I have proof. Hit me on IG if you want to see them admit it. Okay, cool. I will. I will indeed. Ooh, I like the juice. Shane has his ear to the ground constantly. He knows what's going on. I think that's maybe that's one of the things about this show that and doing the Knife Junkie that is so useful to me is that people like Shane show up and tell me things that I just don't know, and I don't have, like, he's got tendrils out there. You know, he's like a, what is it? Mycelium, like a mushroom over acres and acres and square miles. Like he's got his tendrils everywhere, finding out info, and I appreciate that. I think that's cool. Izzy says, reminds me of the QM drama. QM drama. Oh, Quartermaster. Ugh. Quartermaster. You make knives as abhorrent as those Quartermaster knives, and you better have some other things in line. Like, and I say abhorrent. They're abhorrent only now, knowing that they weren't made in Texas by Texans. And we've known that for years and years and years. But I mean, like, you saw the audaciously ugly designs, and you wanted to root for them. Well, that's cool. They're doing something different. They're doing it right here in Texas. I love it. And then you find out, oh, they're not. They're just using the Texas name to make some really fugly, heavy, giant, impractical knives. Okay, suddenly it's not as cool anymore. Yeah, I see what you mean. Let me get this up before we book out of here. From Essie, a new folder, and this reminds me of the Svord peasant knife. Speaking of Svord, this is not the peasant knife. This is the Von Temsky Bowie for beheading gorillas. I mean, it's so big, it's so heavy, and convex ground. I love this, and it's got the side guard. So cool. But anyway, this is not about Svord or the peasant knife or the Von Temsky. This is about Essie, and they have a really cool new knife. I'm loving the look of it anyway. I am not much of a friction folder guy. As a matter of fact, never had one. Tried to make one once, and now I think I know how I messed up. But anyway, this is designed by a gentleman named Shane Adams, and it totally looks Essie to me. You've got that natural canvas micarta sculpted in a very nice looking way, almost a pistol grip, presenting that knife at a great angle. That's a Scandi ground blade, just under 3 inches, or just under 3.5. Well, it's 3.25, so that's in most people's magic spot. Sleek take on a classic Puko. I think it's cool. I think it's cool, but friction folders. Friction folders? Yes? No? I mean, under what circumstances? I could see it coming in handy at work, I guess. Maybe a little bit of food prep, but when do you use a friction folder? I guess you use your thumb to hold that tab down so it's not going to come undone. But yeah, anyone out there have any friction folders or have any feelings about them? I support everyone buying what they want. I just don't tolerate dishonesty. Yeah, yeah, because after that, it's like, well, um, we all know. I'm sure we're all human. We've all betrayed someone's trust at some point. And when you do that, you're left in that awful, awful position of being like, yeah, but that was just once that I betrayed your trust. And now I have to earn trust back for that one. I mean, all it takes is one time, and then it's just like, well, why should I? It's like, what, and when you're married or you have a close friend and they betray your trust, and well, you have reason to make it work. But if it's just Jake Hoback Knives or someone else who's been less than honest, you're like, why should I bother? I've already moved on to these other knives anyway. That's the danger of being dishonest in business, especially this kind of business where tastes change as frequently as new designers are able to get designs out, and new designers can get designs out like that these days. I mean, I'm sure most new designers would bristle at that characterization, but the idea is that every man can have a knife made if they can raise the funds and come up with a design. So you can't afford to be dishonest in this climate. Izzy says, I got really excited when I saw it, then got bummed when I found out it was a friction folder. I did too. I thought it was at least a liner lock. For the use, I would expect even maybe a frame lock just so you could reinforce it with your grip, but not a friction folder fan, says Knives 101. Yeah. 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 I see why. I'm too clumsy to have a friction folder. Well, it's like a friction folder is now that front flippers are so big, a friction folder is just like a really bad front flipper. Hungry Bird says, well said, Bob. A man is only as good as his word. Honesty in business is paramount, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, because that's, I'm not in business for myself, but that's what they say. They say, well, in any line of work, your reputation is your most valuable asset. Have the EOS Urchin, says Blade Ogre. Beautiful knife, but you have to be careful when using it. Okay, so I like the Bastinelli drag attack. He does the drag attack in a friction folder version, a large and a small, like micro and a large. And I've always thought that the large drag attack friction folder in wood would be a nice one to have. It looks really nice. And it's thin and light. So I could see how you might feel good about it. Trust like virginity, once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah. Yeah. It depends on the breach and who the breacher is. Um, yeah, but it is hard to build back. And also being the betrayer is a horrible, horrible, awful feeling. I was once, way back a long, long time ago. Now I look back, I'm like, God, the stakes were so low, but still, I'm glad it gnawed at me and until I came clean. It was an awful, awful thing to do. Um, but anyway, yeah, interesting. I did like that Jake Hoback, that one we had here, but $600 for a Chinese made knife, not gonna do it. All right. So anyway, that's us for the night. I think I'm pulling into the station here. It's been a good night, and I want to thank you all for coming and joining and talking and joining in. And also, I just want to, one last time, rest in peace, Jason Brown. Rest in peace, Aaron Hogue. Uh, you've both made the knife world a better place to spend our leisure time, and so you'll be greatly missed. Coming up on Sunday, join us for episode 354. That's Chaz Fisher, general manager of Boker USA. What a cool dude! And man, that's a big job. He runs Boker, at least in the States, and that's amazing. Anyway, very cool company with a great history. Also, just check out the history. You won't believe it. So anyway, join us then. Also next Wednesday for the midweek supplemental, and then Thursday for another Thursday night knives. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming on. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.